exploded. Look there on the juju's been threshed. Cannot defend her. I cannot believe.
It's gotta be the game.
I can
Legacy.
Mickey Well gets in behind him, trying to turn it his radius. Wave onto everyone. Triple kill for Radier and Mickey Well, last man standing. It's a slugfest. Double kill, triple kill, double kill, quadra kill, double kill, triple kill. My God, that was amazing.
Hooks on, Big Swift has gone mega, but they killed us apart. Can't connect the chain, and Destiny, Hook is on, Swimmer is dead, Ray locks down Raze, Trippies gets that kill, and Spurs is stuck between the entire Wolfpack. Double kill for Fantix, they're running towards the Nexus.
Welcome back to the OPL. It's week 7, day 2. You're getting a look at Legacy, who will be going up against old foes, the Chiefs Esports Club, in a rematch. And once again, I think it was around week 4 that these teams played each other. But I was getting a little bit nostalgic during that intro.
Yeah?
I really miss Fish at the moment. Hello, everyone. I'm Jake Spawn Toviri. Joining me at the desk is
Not
Bryce
Fish,
Agent Paul.
Bryce Agent Paul.
But we saw a cool day of League of Legends yesterday. First day on 8.4 for Oceania. What did you think were the big standouts? What do you think is going to change coming into today? More Volibear, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
The most obvious one.
Yeah, we saw it in the LCS today. I think Contracts played on Golden Guardians just a few moments ago. And I'm pretty sure they won that game. I didn't get to see the end, but they were winning. But I feel like what we saw yesterday, we have to note, going into today, we had the bottom 4 teams playing yesterday and then the top 4 teams playing today. So we saw some mega fiesta, like Tectonic versus AV game 1 was just the clowniest of fiestas I've ever seen in the OPL, and it kind of stayed it up a little bit by the end of the play, but we kind of saw a few things we expect, Banner of Command, that sort of stuff. But I feel like today will be similar sort of stuff, but just cleaned up, a bit more refined.
Yeah, and I think as we get further into the patch, we'll see that those things start getting taken to the more extreme, and then we'll see how far down that rabbit hole you go of Banner of Command, Baron comps, you know, where it ends. Because right now, we're only at the beginning.
Will we, at the end of the patch, have like a support Alistar take Materializer and just not use any in lane? Yeah. Straight up just holding it for the Banner of Command, like interaction 40 minutes later.
We'll see whether it does happen. Maybe. However, as we take a look at the week's schedule, yesterday it was Avant Gaming taking down Tectonic in our first red side, when, of course, the boys in red and black then continued the red side trend, taking down Sin Gaming. Today it will be Legacy versus the Chiefs in OPL Classic Code before Order take on Direwolves in what is first versus second and a must-see match. I mean, we talked about this a lot, but what a spicy day of League of Legends we have in store.
Absolutely, and even after the first game, Legacy versus Chiefs, there's potential on the ladder. The Chiefs can actually take top spot, so it's not just down like who's knocking off Direwolves versus Order. Chiefs can potentially go from 3rd up to first at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly right. It's 19 points for Order right now, and then 18 for both the Direwolves and the Chiefs, but Direwolves hold the head-to-head.
And the one situation, Direwolves have to beat Order 2-1 because they're down a point, and then Chiefs have to 2-0 Legacy to kind of secure themselves at the top of the ladder.
Exactly right. See whether they're able to do it. However, to get their thoughts on today's matchups, let's throw it over to Laura and the 6'4" alpha male from Sim Gaming. It is going to be Juves.
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, I'm joined by the one and only Brandon Juves Defina. Welcome back. It's great to have you on again.
It's good to be back. I'm back again on a loss, though. Something's happening here. It's conspiracies. Put me on red side. I lose a red side game. Yeah, I'm going to have a chat to producer about this one.
Well, it's good to have you back, even though you are coming off a loss. But we have 2 big matches today, the top 4 teams competing. Which one are you looking forward to the most?
I think the OPL Classico, as mentioned by Spawn, I think that's going to be the good one, the Direwolves. But in saying that, you can't. I think they're both good in their own right. The Legacy Chief rivalry, the Direwolf Order top spot rivalry. I'm going to call it a rivalry now. Let's just call it a rivalry, depending on what happens today. So yeah, that's going to be good fun. 2
action-packed games, but our first series of the day will be between Legacy and the Chiefs. And in the past 6 games the Chiefs have played, they've been able to close them all out in under 30 minutes. To contrast that, week to week we see Legacy playing these extended, drawn-out games. And we also can't dismiss the fact that they took a game off the Direwolves last week and probably should have taken the series. Juves, what are your thoughts on Legacy versus the Chiefs?
Before the Direwolf game, I would have said that Chiefs definitely have this one in the bag, but I think Legacy they showed enough to at least warrant a game, in my opinion. So I think, yeah, I'm still Chief favoured in this one because I think the strongest point of Legacy right now is Claire, and that's probably the Chief's strongest point in Roma. So it's going to be a battle of the mid lane for me.
What are you going to give this series then?
Can I change like last week? Can I change my
Why
votes?
not?
So I'm going to say Chiefs 2-1, but I'm going to feel it out. I'm going to let the first game's going to be a real tester for me.
I'm conflicted too. Like, I feel like on paper the Chiefs should probably have this, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if Legacy come out winning this.
I
like
think Legacy's
cleanly.
like that wild card team now, where like you don't know what Legacy's going to come and which week. Like the Legacy against AV was probably underperforming by their standards, and then you don't know if it's going to be the Direwolf Legacy, which looks like they can potentially be one of the best teams in the OPL as well. So it's going to be interesting. In
saying that, I am going to give this 2-0 to the Chiefs. I'm going to stick with my brain. But if you would like to make your own predictions, make sure you head on over to opltips.com.au. We have those XP boosts and RP prizes up for grabs, as well as the $25, $50 and $100 Hungry Jacks vouchers. For more information on the prizes and how you can enter, make sure you do head on over to the website at opltips.com.au. And as always, Jubes will be answering your questions later today, so if there's anything you'd like to ask the captain of Sim Gaming, make sure you send them over to us on Facebook or Twitter using the hashtag #LikeNoOther. And if your question is picked, you could win a mystery skin, which is a pretty good way to end the weekend. Thank you very much for your thoughts, Jubes. But to get this first game started, let's hand it over to Jake and Bryce.
Thanks so much. So a couple of Chiefs victories coming out there. See whether that is the way it chalks up, because I agree. Up until last week's game, this looked very heavily Chief favoured. However, we have seen these teams play once before, and it really did come down to what Jules was talking about, that battle of the mid lane. And game one, it was honestly Claire that got the better of Ryoma.
Absolutely, and that was, I think, the LeBlanc game that we saw where Ryoma was having a bit of a roughie here and there. Was back and forth, but I feel like the recency bias, we talked about that yesterday. Legacy, as you mentioned, against Direwolves did look pretty good, but I do want to touch on the stat that Laura mentioned. Their last 6 games have ended pre-30 minutes for the Chiefs. Legacy, to me, are kind of an unreliable team with the gold advantage. They can get ahead in the early game. They've shown that they can stand up to a team like Direwolves in the laning phase, but then their struggles seem to cement themselves in the mid-game around Baron and things like that.
Who were the last 3 weeks for the Chiefs? Read them out for me. I know you got them there.
Chiefs would have been Sin, Tectonic, and AV.
Okay.
So, I mean, 2 bottom teams in AV, so like it kind of makes sense that the top dog in Chiefs like can do that, but they just seem to be, once they get a lead in their games, they seem to be able to close it out. Destiny is a big performer for them. Juice highlighted Ryoma, but I feel like most of their engages come off the back of Zaya Rakan, things like that, and he's able to constantly play those champions. So I expect to see them go towards that similar style today and be able to close out some early wins if they get a lead.
Yeah, certainly can. However, I think that if Legacy is going to pull it back, they have to rely not only on Claire, but their other solo laner in Mimic. We haven't seen all that much from him. However, against Chippies, was able to play out the Fiora 2 games. Funnily enough, those 2 games were the losses, and the Scion pick arguably looked the best. We'll see what he plays up against the Armor Titan today.
And your biggest criticism was that he could get ahead in the laning phase when he's playing Ignite Fiora with the Spellbook, but he just couldn't do really enough in the side lane. He couldn't transition that to mid to late game. And stylistically, when these 2 players match up, obviously Mimic had a very good Scion game, but you would consider him more of the carry threat. Swiper, he's the guy that will just happily pick a tank, and he's going to sit under his inner turret at 30 minutes, and he will just happily let himself be in that situation and sack things for him individually in the 1v1 because he knows the other side of the map will be able to force a play that he can TP to.
However, we have seen Swiper this split go down very far. He actually, in a game, lost 2 turrets against Parbu and was getting pretty manhandled. I think that Mimic is slightly better than Parbu right now in current form. I think my problem with Mimic is that he plays very within himself. He goes for the 100%, like the 80-20 plays, where sometimes when you're ahead on Fiora, you got to go for the 60-40s, and you just got to back yourself in. It's such a loaded kit on that champion, you know, vital damage, true damage, the ability to get a lot of health back through that ultimate, that I like to just see people play on that knife's edge.
Yeah, and I feel like the riskier plays, especially in games where Legacy, we've seen them like falter against AV. They obviously have lost time and time again, but they have had leads in those games, and they're kind of like struggling to like have a voice in the team, and they're not cohesive. I feel like in that environment, somebody just has to step up. If your team is not doing anything, if you're standing around the Baron for literally 10 minutes in a game, and Mimic's like, look guys, like this is just not working, it's not happening, you kind of expect him to at some point just roll the dice and be like, look, this is a 50-50, but it might just win us the game and something's got to happen.
Yeah, but no 50-50 meant that they lost those games. Let's go through the lineups. On the blue side, it is going to be Legacy. Mimic is their top laner, Sybil their jungler, Claire their superstar, Melbourne Boy mid laner, and it's going to be Raid and Decoy as their AD carry and support, of course. Lucio, Big Brain Soul Strikes down there behind the boys, and it's going to be against the Avenger team, the guys with the shields. The boys in blue, it's the Chiefs Esports Club. Swiper in the top lane, Babip is their jungler, Ryoma is their mid laner, Raze and Destiny make up the 2 halves of the most aggressive bottom lane in the league, according to them, and Fenix is their coach.
And I do have to set something up Because if the series tracks and Legacy do get the victory, last night in a game of solo queue, Swiper said to me, very specific, he's like, Paul, watch tomorrow because I'm going to pop off. So if he doesn't now, I've said it on broadcast, and he's going to be feeling the pressure.
Yeah, and I think that the other thing that we look towards is last week we said that King and Cupcake were on fire. That there's no way this Legacy bottom lane can stand up against them. Then I'm pretty sure they 2v2 killed them.
Yep.
And right now, I'm coming into the game, I'm like, Raze and Destiny are on fire. I'm setting the same tone. I don't think there's any way that Raid and Decoy can stand up to them. Solo kills?
Maybe. Maybe they can prove you wrong once again. We will see. But Legacy into Champ Select already. First ban Rakan. I honestly respect that. We've seen a lot of priority on Zyra Rakan.
Yep.
Just not necessarily on this patch, but even the previous one. But it makes sense. Chiefs a very early game potent team. They want to get those leads and transition them, especially because Xayah and Rakan has been Raze and Destiny's most effective duo lane and probably the most common overall. They do play those champions a lot. So,
however, it is strange that they take away the racket.
Yeah.
Because generally, if you want to hit the duo, you take Xayah because she's still playable. And I think that Raze is honestly a very good Xayah player.
Yep.
Whereas I don't know if you can play Rakan with nearly any other AD carry. Just because his E range is actually so big, because he's very squishy right now.
Yep.
So if he wants to get in and out of the fight, I feel like he needs that extended E.
You kind of do. But maybe they just don't want to pinch the AD carry pool. Maybe Raid wants to pick it up or something like that. They kind of have that plan. If you do ban away the Rakan, you expect Chiefs to not go towards the Xayah necessarily. So it opens themselves up for that sort of pick. So
we'll be interested to see if Braum is the last ban. No, it's going to be Ryze against Ryoma, so not willing to first pick that one for Claire. Certainly has shown a lot more flair for things like Talia, Galio so far. See whether that is potentially a pickup for them as well. Doorman must be looked at with the two big supports gone. I feel like he is the sore thumb right now for Decoy at least.
Yep, and at least on your screen right now is Destiny. His two best champions overall have been banned away, and especially in terms of how much the Chiefs actually rely on him to engage
they don't. They get rid of the Emperor of Shurima. Thoughts?
Makes sense. Makes sense. Ryze is already gone. Ooh, Azir. Ban that one away. And it will be the Skarner. Okay.
Everyone's favorite Pokemon heading to Summoner's Rift today.
We haven't seen too much
he looks like a Pokemon?
He does. He does.
Yeah.
He's also got like he's like a very like iconic shape. You know what I mean? So if you blended him out, like if you blacked him out, and was like, who's this Pokemon? Like I feel like you get it. Yeah. Yeah. 100%
as well. For sure. Did you used to play that? Could you do the Poke Rap? Here we go.
Oh no, I couldn't do the Poke Rap. I wasn't cool enough.
Going to be picked up by the Chiefs right now. I'll save you by talking about the game because there are Pokemon fans out there that right now want blood of Bryce Egan.
My bad. My bad. But Skarner first pick, I have to talk about it briefly. I feel like we haven't had too much successful Skarner play in the OPL, to be honest. We've seen it much more successfully overseas. We've seen players like only pick it up for the most part, things like that. And I just feel like overall, Jarvan, Sejuani, things like these, for OPL junglers have just been much more effective.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that one thing that will be interesting this patch is that he kind of hasn't been touched for a while, and his jungle clear speed is very quick.
Yep.
So it makes him an unpredictable jungle. With the Trackers Knife changes, with the fact that you can now go Blue Smite on him reliably and be able to catch people out a little bit easier with your Predator, be interesting to see him in effect.
But why pick Skarner when you can just pick Volibear? And they work out the same sort of way, you know, you don't have the Impale, you don't have the Suppressant, all you've got is a Flip, but you get to be a big, giant Lightning Bear.
Exactly right. And it's going to be Skarner, Camille, Galio locked in.
Okay.
This seems to be the O special. Camille Galio is like the easy-to-execute old-school Camille Jarf.
Absolutely. Camille Galio, Rakan Galio, anything like that. It's the I want to force a team fight right now, and you can't do anything about it. It's so difficult to play around, especially if you get any semblance of a lead. It just makes it very easy to snowball, and ease of execution can't be understated.
Exactly right, and I also feel like this is just a Claire champion. We said that he was winning his lane very hard on things like Victor, but they weren't able to translate it. So I feel like right now, you need to get Claire into other lanes. Talia, Galio are the two best champions of that.
But in saying that, you want to get Galio into the side lane. Cassio, we haven't seen too much, because it does necessarily get banned away more often than not into the Galio, and it's one of the best counter picks. We've seen a lot of like Corki into Galio.
This will be interesting, because I don't know if I agree anymore.
Okay, with the Mage item update?
Not with the Mage item update, with Electrocute Galio.
Oh, you go the full AP?
Electrocute Galio one-hits Cassiopeia. So I will be very interested. Also the fact that if you want to play completely defensive, you just go after Shock. So when it was Spellbook Galio, I felt like this was a shocking matchup for Galio. Okay. I feel like this is one of those matchups, as people got their head around the itemization and the rune choices, it actually got a little bit easier to play.
So I have to see that one. I'm honestly not sure what the Electrocute Galio's build on this patch, because it used to be something like the Morellos, things like that, whether he goes into that one on this patch. Maybe switches it up, but we do have a bunch of bans coming through, sticking to the support bans there.
Yeah, very interesting the fact they also hit Swiper this late in the draft. They just get rid of the Gnar. I thought if you were going to ban anything blind, it would be the Scion, but potentially want to set Mimic up for a carry pick.
Yep.
Oh, well, he's already on Camille, so they just get away the counter pick. There we go. It's going to be Xayah, as you mentioned. Still picked up 4 Rays.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about how he is so successful on that champion. And with of itself, doesn't need the Rakan, but it will be answered by Ray. They just want CC. Legacy are just picking CC, and they're picking some damage. Every single one of their champions right now has the ability to lock one down.
At 3 items, Xayah does more damage. Up until that point, Varus is literally new Kog'Maw, I feel like.
Kog'Maw got buffed in this patch. He got a little bit more.
He actually feels so good at the moment, Varus. He's one of those champions that, like, hand off keyboard. Old school, like, when you
right
could
click
just...
and that's it.
Remember Kog'Maw when he went over the
all.
attack speed cap?
Yeah.
And you would literally just, like, sit in a brush and turret? I feel like Varus is nearly in that range.
That was flash forward Kog'Maw when you had like the lifesteal and you would just flash forward in a team fight and either you would wipe
Instantly
the floor,
die or you would
would
kill
1v5
everyone.
or you would insta die. Absolutely. And we see once again Shen 8.4 meta is coming back. I think in the NALCS Impact was playing it this morning top lane, but you have to assume this will be going bot side for Decoy.
Yeah, and the reason Shen's coming back is because Shen with Tiamat just deals with tank top lanes absolutely fine. And you can't push into him. He holds creep waves with the block, and he's just actually a nuisance. And then he facilitates bottom lane play incredibly well.
Not to mention, even in the 1v1, it's very hard to actually push his turret. You can shove him in if you can. Maybe that's hard enough already with a Tiamat, with his wave clear, but then you want to try hit a turret, he just taunts you, suddenly you're tanking the turret, he's locked you down, dodge field means he can trade so effectively under the defense of his own turret, so makes a lot of sense that he's coming back, and it was the Scion picked up.
And I feel like this is the second time we've seen Lucio this animated. He really is appealing to his players to have big games at the moment, Soul Strikes. See Fantix nice and calm behind saying, you know, you guys have played these champions a million times, all of them. Soul Strikes is really asking for that next step to come out of Legacy. And I feel like a lot of Legacy fans are actually asking for it, because when you look at this team on paper, you're like, okay, what's it going to be like? Then they have such a good boot camp. They've shown flashes of honestly brilliant play. And I want to see him step up and really rise to the occasion of the top 3 teams.
And I feel like, honestly, this comp is exactly what Legacy need. They have been indecisive at best. I feel like that's a very generous way to put it, especially outside of the early game. And when you just have all of these go buttons, you have the Gallia.
Got the right jersey on, no star.
Oh, okay. Didn't put it in the wash. That's a beer. How did you notice that?
Because I actually always check out their stars.
Neither does Swiper.
Neither does Swiper. What is
this
going
isn't even
on,
Super
boys?
Week. You know, they don't have double games. They just... Come on, man. He's got the blonde hair rocking, though. But back to my point. I feel like this is the comp that Legacy need to kind of get their confidence back, right? Like, it's just so easy to execute. You have all these go buttons. It's really not hard to look down the lineup and be like, okay, we need to do this. You have one very good option, and that's just engage. And then it just makes so much sense. And I feel like this could be good for the mentality of Legacy going forward.
And I feel like last week we saw one kind of group out of Mimic where he flew into the back end of a team fight and got one hit on Fiora. This time, he's got Camille, and it's going to be a Galio helping him out. So that will not happen as we get onto Summoner's Rift for Game 1 of LPL Classico between Legacy and the Chiefs. Let's check in with Laura, who is with Legacy coach Soul Strikes.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm standing here with Soul Strikes. Now, Legacy had a great showing against Direwolves last week, but unfortunately they weren't able to close the series out. What did the team learn from that series?
We just learned that we have a really strong early game, and we just need to play from the winning lane, because what ended up happening in Game 1 was we left our bot lane alone, the Lucian Brom, and they just got dove, and we're just learning how to translate our early game lead to mid game and into Baron, then finish.
I've also heard that Legacy have a new analyst on the team. How have they been helping behind the scenes?
Josh Blind Turkey actually came into the house a couple of weeks ago, and he's been an immense help, and he's been telling the boys like extra stuff that that I could need another man. Yeah.
And Legacy first picked Skarner this game, but Skarner hasn't seen too much success in the OPL so far. What was the reasoning behind opting for him instead of another jungle champion?
I think Skarner is definitely a top tier pick at the moment, and I don't think the top teams like Order, Dolls, and Chief hasn't been playing it at the moment, so we'll actually be the first team to show how powerful and scary Skarner is.
Well, best of luck with this game and the series, and thank you so much for talking to us.
All right, thank you.
Meanwhile, top lane.
Yeah.
A weird zombie barbarian was assaulted by a lady with blade legs, and the lady with blade legs somehow won.
Mimic hit him with a Khan. Always cheeses in solo queue before he actually gets to the lane. Many people in solo queue are like, oh, the game doesn't start till minions crash, but no.
Nah, it starts as soon as you leave the base.
Yep. And Mimic proved that right there. Got about half HP and a corrupting pot stack out of Swiper, so already has advantage early into this one.
See, when we first started, the OBL and Spellbook was so prevalent, I was waiting for a team to go like 3 teleports at the start of the game. Teleport to like mid lane tier 1 and then get deeper in the jungle than you would have thought they could and like ultimately cheese you. But it never happened, so I never spoke about it because that's one of those things that if you like predict, you look like an idiot.
Because that's like, you can see it if you're the enemy team.
Yeah.
But if you're not really looking, like who TPs straight out of the base, you're not really looking for that, right?
Because it saves you like 10 seconds because you run quick anyway. As Babip takes the Scuttle Crab in front of Sybil, and they're actually going to crash here, but Sybil gets nothing.
Yep, Skarner in the 1v1 actually does all right into the Sejuani because you saw there, throws out the spike and that actually breaks her passive before he starts dealing damage, so he can get that stun down. And that means he can trade well, but you mentioned Babip gets that Scuttle Crab swipe and now pushing in because he won the top side wall right now, but Sybil kind of posturing around the top side a little bit.
Yeah, Mimic actually getting chunked out a lot contesting for these creeps and has no real sustain in the kit apart from that W. See whether he's able to chip down Swiper or whether Swiper, as we've seen so often in these matchups, just continues to shove in.
He's actually gone for the stopwatch as well because we do have the Glacial Augment on the side. We've seen a lot more common on 8.4 because lane priority just means so much more in this patch. People are playing more aggressive in the laning phase, but no, he's gone for the team fight presence. That does mean he goes for the stopwatch. Now it is 10 minutes instead of the 6, so significantly later that you can actually use that button there, but will come online in about 6.5.
Yeah, and I feel like this is one of those times that he just wants boots early and everything else in that tier doesn't really do much for Sion, so he's not building it. It's like a maybe one-time use item, but he's
just
not going to...
potential.
Yeah, it's just a potential item as opposed to, you know, something right now, because against a Camille, honestly, as a tank, you generally want tabbies as quickly as you possibly can get it. So I feel like that's more of a, hey, let's go this rune choice purely because we want Glacial Augment and not because we want the rest of it.
Makes a lot of sense there. Camille, Mimic, just going to recall. What's fairly low, buys himself another laning item in the Dorans. Really wants to have some pressure in this one and will TP back to that one.
You can see mid lane fairly neutral. This is kind of the stage of the lane, honestly, where Cassiopeia is at her strongest. 2 points in the E, as well as points in Q and W, means that she just has brilliant chase potential. Swiper, again, will be able to shove Mimic out. Continually using that E defensive, which he is maxing, is really hurting his trading potential, although it goes for a nice trade there. Swiper will trade back.
Oh, onto the shield there. Does get a nice bit of damage. Can't hold that one long enough for the knock-up. But sitting pretty for the most part now, so I feel like fairly soon we'll have to opt in for a recall. But with Babip on the top side of the map, he has him in the back pocket. He's always going to be safe here. Sybil pathing towards the bot side.
He's also got himself a little bit of an Auntie Donna, cheeky chocky bicky rolling at the moment. So you can see right now he's back up to about 20% mana.
He's chilling.
Really, he's not in all that much trouble. And with Deep Vision coming in, he can push in here, make this wave hit the turret, and potentially look for a free back. I don't even know whether he has to burn TP for this one.
Yeah, probably not right now. Mimic's actually opting in for the stop. He flashes.
Flashes on him, and he wants this one so badly. We'll get the slow. Will he get the first blood? Yes, he's going to solo Swiper.
And it just looked so easy. We're like, Swiper's going to walk away, shove the wave in, back away. Doesn't even have to burn the TP. Mimic says no. Knows the limits there. Knew even with Babip topside, he was able to get that kill early enough. So straight up in the 1v1, takes down the Armored Titan, gets himself a nice chunk of gold there.
And it is actually Aftershock coming out of Claire right now. You can just see he's absolutely fine in the lane. He just holds the creeps whenever he wants. He's going to be able to pick up all the CS there. He's going to be down 2 CS in what we thought would be a hard counter. Is now Mimic hitting 6, has no mana. Sybil's only level 4, and that's a very short duration. Swiper will dig 6. They flash in front of him. They really want to take him down. Can they do it? No, they will just force another recall coming out here.
And it looked like a bit of miscommunication there. They were kind of late on the stop of that Sion ulti, so Mimic backtracks just a step, but that was enough to give Swiper enough time.
Now potentially Swiper's going to do to Mimic what Mimic did before. No, Mimic will do the right thing. Does not greed for the creeps. Instead just makes it hit turret, looks for the recall, and Swiper now, he needs a recall as well. Oh, actually a big trade coming down bottom lane. Very good dodge zone from Decoy put up.
Yeah, it means he doesn't get stunned out by the Brawn passive, so everyone will in the end just walk away. We haven't looked at the bot lane too much for the most part, but fairly safe. You have defensive supports in the Shen, in the Braum. I feel like at level 6 when Shen starts moving around the map, that's when we might see Raid struggle, see if Chiefs Raze and Destiny can kind of force anything down here. But in saying that, there's just so much global pressure on Legacy's lineup. Galio can come down if they try and look for a fight. You have Shen that can go mid and top lane. It's really difficult for Babip to try and find an avenue to gank in this early game, which is kind of what we've seen. He's just farmed up. He's ahead a fair amount of camps, but hasn't really influenced any of the lanes just
But the big thing is he's not up experience. So, you know, camps are only golden experience. And at this stage of the game, I would say Skarner, having an experienced lead, going to be able to sprint into a lane with the Predator now and pick himself up, you know, a free ultimate, if he is able to, would be a big thing. Obviously, Babip now equalizes that.
And that's both these junglers are not the biggest, like, level 6 spiking. I mean, Skarner, obviously. Sejuani, level 6 is fairly good. Her gank 3-6 are not bad, but Skarner obviously has that impale. Just means so much more. But he did use the flash on the top side, and they didn't actually opt in for a kill, and you have to think the flash impale combo is kind of a guaranteed kill for the Skarner gank. If you can ever get in range for that one, somebody will die. So the fact that they used that flash on the top side to try and take down Swiper and didn't get the kill kind of hurts a little bit, but in saying that, Mimic, now with the kill lead, has his Sheen, has the early buy. Yeah,
and what I was going to say is maybe not this game, because where are you really going to kill? You're not going to kill Isaiah Braum lane, now they're level 6. Mid lane, Skarner wiggling in, we'll potentially see it here. That's a very nice petrifying engage coming out of Ryoma. Will get slowed down, has to burn the flash as well, so they get everything out of him for honestly nothing.
And that was the Cassio effect right there. Ryoma landed the ulti, he wanted to go for the 1v2. Tries to chuck a bit more damage than he can there and has to burn the flash and the cleanse on the back end of that one because the stun could have come out from Skarner. He does get stunned up, would have fallen down, so loses both summoners there for the Snake.
Yeah, see, top side of the map, Swiper was able to push in. He's got a big CS lead right now. That's actually where the gold lead's coming from. Even with First Blood, Mimic is down. And Swiper just continuing to bully.
But you have seen Babip and the Chiefs have placed a fair amount of vision topside.
Oh, very nice ulti mid lane. Claire will have to flash away. Gets a Shen ult to save his life. Nicely communicated from Decoy.
The Shen ult is what I was about to talk about, right? Chiefs have put so much vision defensively in the top side because Mimic, despite being down in CS, has that Sheen. There is kill potential. We've already seen it. Swiper has no flash. So they would have wanted to get Decoy up here, potentially bring him up with Sybil at the same time, get a gank down on Swiper, look for first brick, something like that. But having to use the Stand United defensively mid lane kind of hurts.
However, at the same time, does stop this mid lane from getting out of control. That's the ultimate use from Babip. No summoner spells right now on Ryoma, so there is a potential window where Shen ulti will be back available. So they walk over wards into the top side of the map. You can see they want to set up the Camille Galio interaction. Instead, they're just going to use it to force Swiper off the turret.
Does make a lot of sense. Babip now on the bottom hand side. Mimic actually trying to pull this wave into the bush, looking to push back towards him. But unfortunately is being hit by the range minion there, so going to even out for the most part. Babip also going to clear himself out of pink ward. Maybe not. Maybe he just wants to stand on it. No.
Just chilling.
Yep. Just, he's just checking, you know. He's like, is that a pink ward? Is that a great... Can I see this? Oh, we can. Oh, okay.
We'll get some good bottom side vision, however, as he knew the Legacy duo were top lane. You can see right now, just recalling in Fog of War means that Decoy and Raid need to be a little bit more careful as we check in the items. It's going to be double mana stacking items coming in for Ryoma right now. Hunter's Pot picked up for Babip. We don't see this item all that much, but the ability to stay on the map right now is pretty valuable, so I like the pickup out of it.
Makes a lot of sense, especially when things can kind of happen at the drop of the hat. You want to be active as much as you can. So Babip going for the... not necessarily the combat stats, but just wants that sustain, as you mentioned, to stick around on the map. Both junglers pathing towards the top side right now, but Legacy have a good amount of vision in that river.
And Raid and Decoy being even with Destiny and Raze is just further proof that they've come so far as a duo. Sybil gets a stun here. Can he get even more? Is the ultimate going to be used from Claire? No, because he's in grounding territory. Instead, they will just trade back. Ultimate pegged at Claire. He will just dash out of there. So they trade an ultimate for, honestly, a little bit of HP. Got to say, another one victory right now for Legacy.
The small advantages right now for Legacy.
That's the Predator. Flash is available. They grab him over the top of it. However, Claire kind of whiffed it. And that means that Ryoma now looking for the turnaround damage. Ultimate will come out. Hextech Ultimatum onto Ryoma. Very good stun means that Mimic looking for the kill will finally get it. It's a 1-for-1 trade as they continue the fight. However, Raze and Destiny are already here.
Big
huge taunt onto 3 members means no, they will not fall down. Destiny, now that Raid appears, will continue to go forward on the back end. Raze puts in some work, will eventually fall. Raid now looking to continue this fight with Decoy. Good use of the heal, good use of the ultimate. However, can he actually live? You can see Swiper trying to continue the fight on the backside, and Raze will get out.
And every single member on the map all float towards the mid lane. Raze aggroed himself an angry dragon there, so will run away from that one. It is an even trade across the board. You have to think it could have gone better for Legacy potentially if execution was just slightly better, but overall a good play. And this is the big thing. Sybil does get onto Ryoma. He uses the flash before the grounding comes through, but that right there, that has to be communicated. You have to be landing that CC, and you have to think the Galio ulti shouldn't have been used onto the Skarner. If they can lock down Ryoma earlier, they can hold that for later into the fight when the bot lanes do arrive. And Chiefs, they do arrive earlier. They had priority in the bot lane, so they pick up a few extra kills, but that taunt, absolutely massive. The E flash onto 3 people, completely huge there. And overall, kills going left, right, and center. The AD carry just going to clean up a little bit. And advantages going to everyone.
Yeah, certainly are. However, at this stage of the game, you would have to say getting Varus accelerated, who is a 1 to 2 item spiking champion. Ginsu's into Wit's End is just such a power spike. However, now multiple members of the Chiefs looking mid lane. You can see Claire has kind of sniffed something out here, just hovering his side of the map. He actually pings that he's on his way into Swiper's lane.
Yeah, ulti not available just yet. About 1/4 left on that cooldown, but does buy enough time for Chiefs to lose interest in this mid play. We'll just be looking to clear out the waves right now. And the AD carries were the recipient of all those kills there. So Raze just goes back, gets himself the Essence Reaver. Both of them sitting 2-0-0 right now. Sybil looking for his next victim in the top lane. Swiper might get a visit again.
Yeah, it pops the shield right now.
Mimic's
Potentially
low.
could go aggressive. Feel like Mimic is trying to bait this one. You can dodge out of so much of the damage with the Hextech ultimatum. However, you can see they've kind of lost faith in the play and taking another chunk now.
They might not have lost faith, though. They might just be waiting for the cooldown of Claire. He has priority in the mid lane right now. Did just use that E on the wave you saw on the minimap. So if Swiper kind of postures too far aggressively right now, he could have been at a spot of bother. But Sybil walks over that ward in the tri-bush. Nice vision there to keep himself safe. So Swiper will be absolutely fine on the top side.
See right now, Raze looks actually like he's going to start himself a dragon. That's a very interesting play coming out of the Xayah.
He's got melons.
Does have melons.
Going to lose so much haste tree doing this one. The Earth Drake, in terms of soloing it out, does a lot of damage. It does less damage than the other dragons, like the fire and things like that, but it's just so much more tanky, so you have to spend more time. But with Destiny rocking over, going to be the Guardian, procs the extra resist on the Braum.
And we've talked
That's
about it
just
a
full HP.
lot. Cassiopeia plus Mountain Drake just seems to mean that you can start the Baron as early as you want. And it's going to be a big deal right now. You can see mid lane is about a 23 CS advantage right now for Ryoma. A lot of the action has been around that part of the map. And this is kind of where I think Cassiopeia is getting to. Gone are the days that she just 1v1 wins the lane. However, in the 2v2, Grounded seems to be such an important tool that you can turn that side of the map a lot easier. And you can see it's only about a 500 gold lead. So honestly, for a lane counter, Claire's done
Hasn't
fine.
done too much, yeah. Absolutely. The pressure out of Ryoma, not too great. I mean, early in the lane, he did lose both those summoners. So Sybil visiting there early kind of alleviated a lot of the pressure and just allowed Claire to just farm up like exactly what he wants to do. Will he finally be able to clear out the pink ward, or does he not want to spend some time around that one?
I mean, 4 auto attacks from a Galio is a lot.
That's
I think
a long
he just
time.
wants a
Yeah,
hard reset.
Doesn't care. Looking bot lane.
Oh, that's a very nice ultimate onto a flashless target. Ray just gets picked up. You can see Decoy trying to slide away. Should be able to do so. Aftershock is there. Babip goes for the dive. No dodge zone available. And Babip will be able to pick up Ray's another kill.
And a very nice gank out of Babip, but you have to notice the ulti from Destiny didn't even throw it at the Varus, went straight for Shen, but...
Meanwhile, top lane, we said potentially the stopwatch is just there for precaution. Well, he uses it now. However, re-engage is there and Swiper will fall. First turret will be picked up, however, for the Chiefs right now on the bottom side of the map. And Sybil, you can't go near that man. He's still angry.
He is. He's lasted a very long time in the zombie mode, but advantage does go over to Chiefs with that first brick, trading opposite sides of the map right now. They did get 2 kills versus the one onto Swiper. It does have TP to TP back to any sort of play bot side if they want to make it, but everything going to go back to relative normalcy here. But as I was mentioning, Braum, Destiny, actually threw the ulti, not at the Varus. He went at the Shen, because they knew the Sejuani CC was enough to lock him down. He kind of got the 2-for-1 there, locked Decoy enough for just enough time so Babip can chase that one down to the turret. Nice execution there.
Yeah, it certainly was. I thought Aftershock was going to make Decoy just tanky enough. He's very good at proccing that, actually, in situations where he's trying to run away at the same time. However, still was able to fall through. You can see right now Mimic is 3-1-2. So another situation where Legacy's Korean top laner is the man with the gold. And you would expect him to have a good game. Now with a Galio in his back pocket, as well as a Shen, you would expect that, I mean, if you can't split push this game to victory, maybe just stop putting me on split push.
Yeah, maybe split push is not the answer. We've seen his Scion looked very good in the game versus Direwolves. But Destiny with a Scry's Bloom. Ooh, that's actually something I want to talk about. Scry's Bloom, warding vision score is something interesting, right? It's a pretty new mechanic that we see overall, but in terms of how it's specifically counted, you have time left on ward. Like if you place a ward and it lasts 1 or 2 minutes, like the minutes left gives you a point. If you clear vision out, whether it's with like a dust blade or a sweeper, things like that, the amount of time left on the ward that you cleared gives you a point. And then you also get partial points for things like the Scry's Bloom, even Hawkshot if you see champions and stuff like that. Also wards, like if you place a pink ward literally in your base, then it doesn't give you enough points.
Oh, Sybil gets ultimated here. It's potentially going to need to turn around and fight. Grounded. Dodge zone does not go out. Drags it so far back. They want to continue this fight. No, they don't. They bail out of it. That's a cancelled teleport. And now Swiper comes in. Will flash on him. Will be able to knock him off. That is a lot of damage. And all of a sudden, Raid is just dead. And the Chiefs take it 2-0. 3-0.
Yeah, 3 kills over there. Claire was kind of posturing around the play. And then he just E'd backwards immediately as the TP comes through from Swiper. Wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. And you were talking about Legacy. They have this advantage in the top side, playing towards Mimic, but they're just playing to the other side of the map. They face check the top jungle, but Bip is already there, and the collapse just comes so quickly out of the Chiefs.
Yeah, it certainly does, but Bip has just been lightning quick on these ultimates. Some of them have not resulted in anything. However, that one was the correct play. Legacy right now looking to lose 2 turrets potentially. Claire just defends that one, but honestly, a sneeze would probably take it down.
That is so incredibly low. Any sort of pick from the Chiefs will result in that one going down, which honestly means a lot in a Galio composition. Actually having that mid control to fall back to. He wants to kind of go around the map. If he ever leaves the mid lane, you have
Once
to
again,
that
I
one
just have
will
to
go down.
question the Rakan van. Right now, Raze is 5-0-2, looking every piece the perfect player. But his summoner name would suggest Egypt. He's got himself 215 CS at 19 minutes into the game. He's 2 items as well as a QSS complete, and 2,700 of the gold is sitting on him.
He's big. That is a very big 80 carry. And that's going to be the expiry Rift Herald dropped by Sybil, you have to think. Got to throw it up mid. Potentially
Very strange to not put it in Mimic's lane.
Yeah, put it in a side lane. He's going to steal some creeps from Claire. There goes one. And he's not going to be able to walk it to the wave even, so this might not even get a charge on the turret. It might just go down with the 2 tanks.
Goodbye.
See you later.
Too soon.
Goodbye. Farewell.
Why does bad things happen to good people? I was going to say, why does good things happen to bad people? That's not the way that saying goes.
But Legacy, after dropping that one, kind of bringing all their members over to the mid lane, trying to get some control down here.
They're looking for a couple of ultis. I mean, potentially a flash ulti to come out. As Cassiopeia is top lane, they could probably fight right now. However, if they don't get onto Raze, there's always a chance that Zaya's damage at this stage of the game just absolutely rinses them.
But that's the thing. They are such an ulti-reliant composition. But if they can just pick someone, right? If they can Skarner, flash ulti, a carry, if you get the Cassiopeia, it doesn't matter how far ahead that person is.
They die.
They just die instantly. There's so much CC. Shen, Galio, Skarner, Camille, even Varus. Every single member can lock someone down. So if they pick anyone, they can kill them immediately. And your gold, sure, if you have a 5,000 gold lead, that doesn't matter if it's a 4v5.
However, Chiefs have seeded mid control here as they're trying to posture aggressively for the Baron. I think that even though they have a quick Baron comp, if you don't kill a member of the initiation, so either the Galio or the Cassiopeia, not Cassiopeia, Galio or Camille, can't really do this one just yet. This Baron Pit is a good arena for that fight to take place.
The classic ARAM in the OPL has taken place. They're looking to just bait this one out. They have the pinks. We're fairly early in the game, so I don't think any blue trinkets are
they
available.
actually go onto the support straight away. Decoy will fall down, dominating for Raze. So they're going to have to fight this one without a Shen.
And that's 8.4. Junglers do have no vision, so Decoy has to be the one to face check. The pinks were around. Chiefs get this very low already.
They already sent Mimic
Sybil has flash
to the bottom lane. I mean, Sybil can look for it. Can he go over the wall in time?
He's
Gets
just
rooted
dead.
up, just goes down. And why did they not decide to fight? Chiefs take the Baron, and Legacy are heading for the hills, but they just can't run fast enough. Big Swips is popping off. and the Chiefs take themselves 3 kills at Baron and will look to push down mid.
And such a well-executed Baron that they hold it at about 2k, 1.8. Sybil just sitting there. He wants to flash over, but it's just out of smite range, so they take him down, and now they're just pushing straight down mid.
And you have to say that that is a fight call. It's only your support that's dead. And he was on a 30-second death timer. If they're able to poke around, if they're able to, you know, potentially stall that one out, he can Shen ulti in. Instead, they go for a steal call, which is just never going to work against Grounded, against so many tools that the Chiefs have.
Yeah. Results in a loss here. Gold leads steadily in Chiefs' favor, about 8,000. That has exploded almost out of nowhere. They just got a couple of tower kills there. Obviously, few kills as well, but you have to think they're going to base, get themselves a banner of command. We take another look. Ulti's burnt out of the Sejuani to just get that initial pick. And you look at the pink wards. Legacy have no business seeing anything about the Baron. They don't know what health it's at. And as you mentioned, the Earth Drake plus the Cassio, things like that, they do it so quickly. So Sybil's trying to get in there. He places that ward, but this is it. Holding the Baron at about 1.8. It's actually regenning because literally nobody is hitting it. Sybil wants to go in, but he can't, and they just clean up the fight in the back end. Yeah,
and look how quickly they move forward, you know, with things like that Righteous Glory. Tankman certainly seems to be suiting right now. They've got themselves some accelerated QSSs as well, so Sybil's job becomes even more difficult.
And that's the thing. You have to get that initial pick, because Chiefs right now, Destiny-based, and he bought a banner of command just as they got the Baron buff.
Yeah.
So they're going to pick a lane, and it looks like it might just be bot, and they're just going to march that minion all the way into the base right now. They do have a Brawn, they can defend it. There's no kind of like minion juggle mechanics on the lineup of Legacy. They don't have a Scion, they don't have a Syndra that can pick it up and throw it around. They've kind of got nothing. No dematerializers. Decoy did have it this game. Both supports did, but he hasn't held on to any.
And I love comps like this that get banner, because honestly, Raze can hit this turret, but he probably can't hit the next turret without being in danger. In saying that, he now doesn't have to. All he has to do is be able to clear the minion wave, one or two pop shots every now and again with his rapid fire cannon. And this thing will fall down in 14 seconds.
And I feel like Legacy aren't actually committing to the play. They look to give this one up.
But the Chiefs are. They go with the ultimate. Decoy dead again, and the Chiefs just storm into the base. And Legacy honestly look just a little bit confused. Babip's going to continue forward. Raze will look to continue. Actually pulls Babip underneath the turret. Big ultimates, however. So in comes Galio. Huge bouncy castle. And Ray is just free hitting on the backline. Raze will fall down to a turret shot. They're trying to get onto Legacy Ray, but they just cannot. However, meanwhile, the banded up minion is just taking the base.
It's just chugging away at the Nexus turrets. Very decisive play out of the Chiefs. I was saying Legacy had 2 members mid. They were trying to deal with the Scion. They were like, look, we're going to lose this inhib anyway. We'll just give it up. But decisive call out of Chiefs. Nets them that early kill. They push forward, kind of overreach a little bit. Their carries fall just too low. So Legacy hold on to their base for the most part.
See whether they're able to continue to hold on. However, Raid put out so much work that fight because no one was hitting it. He flashed out of range of things like the Cassiopeia and Xayah, who are both very short range carries and just had free range. And honestly, the fight was still even under double Nexus turret. Doesn't really spell all that much good things. 8.4k is the gold lead right now. However,
that's a big lead.
They have defended the Baron push for now. With only a bottom inhibitor going down.
We were talking about the safety of the QSSs, right? You saw Sybil had to go onto Babip. They did take him down, but the Sejuani is really not the person you really want to be impaling on the Skarner, but left with no options, has to pull the trigger on something. It's better ulting a tank than ulting nobody. They have to go, so they hold on.
Destiny right now could be the target they engage on because they've bought over Mimic. You see, once again, they potentially want the jungle, so they go in, ulting all of a sudden, and that's just bad. On the back end, you see Swiper keeping everyone busy. Will ult up Sybil, will get the chair, will look to knock him up as well. Shen ultimate coming across, Claire trying to keep him safe, but it's just not enough. And you can see Chiefs right now are just so commanding with a lead.
And Legacy right now look desperate, and rightfully so. They just can't defend around the turrets with this banned minion, so they're looking for the picks. They just can't quite find it onto Babip. And his ultis these games so decisive. Pulls the trigger straight away, and they get 2 picks, and this should be the Nexus.
Yeah, this will actually be game. You can see right now they're already on that second Nexus turret. There's no way Claire can clear out these minions. There's no way they can engage onto Swiper. And Legacy right now doesn't even look like they're going to try. They just hightail it back. Claire teleports to a ward. And Chiefs, in 26 minutes, destroy Legacy.
So against AV and Tectonic, Chiefs can end the game pre-30 minutes. Also versus Legacy there, 26 minutes. You mentioned a very quick victory. As soon as they got the Baron, they broke the base, reset, go topside. very quick ending once they secured themselves that objective. Just,
and that's another 1-4 coming out of Legacy that has honestly not looked good. They laning phase, absolutely fine. Maybe trade a couple of kills back and forth. Big team fight in the mid lane goes a little bit 50-50. But then the bottom side of the map of the Chiefs was so far ahead. Mimic was very far ahead. And the Chiefs' bottom lane ran over the game, and Mimic, unfortunately, wasn't able to get much rolling.
And in Laura's interview with Soul Strikes, he literally said, oh, we picked Lucian Braum last week and then played to the other side of the map. We need to play to our strong point. And then that's the opposite of what they did today. They had the Fiora, game 1, and then they just play towards the other side of the map. They face check, and that was the big turning point when Sybil goes down, gets picked by the Sejuani, and then they lose a couple of members, break open the mid lane turret, and the advantage for Chiefs kind of exploded from that point.
And I feel like that's the cardinal sin. If you're going to play Galio, you actually have to have 5 members on the map when it counts. You have to have some form of hard engage going in that is being buffed up by Galio. That is why it's so potent with Camille at the moment, because a champion that builds 2 damage items actually gets tanky off the ultimate. But we didn't see that combo at all. Claire's Galio ultis, honestly, were either reactive or not happening.
And that's what you hate to see, reactive ultis. That's not what you want to be doing as a Galio, because I feel like that kind of composition, when you talk about team fighting, you can, even if you're down, you can swing a fight. If you get the perfect combo, doesn't matter if Chiefs have a 5k gold lead, you can turn it. We mentioned that in the cast, but just never kind of came into fruition. They Mimic, time and time again, tried to get something going in the side lane, but whether it's his fault or the For's fault, they were just getting picked off. You don't know. The communication seems like it's breaking down a little bit there, and they just weren't able to execute in their win conditions. Chiefs just rolled over them, to be honest.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, the perfect player is just absolutely throwing feathers through people. So to break that game down a little bit further, let's throw it over to Laura and Juves.
Thank you very much, guys. The Chiefs able to pick up game number 1 in this series and continuing their trend in ending games under 30 minutes. Juve, some people call Raze the perfect ADC. Jake just mentioned to it just then. He popped off this game. But you were saying Legacy probably should have had some more wards down bot, but in conjunction with that, they weren't really playing to the win conditions of their team composition.
Not to take anything away from Chiefs, like that game was really clean. Like it was really well played, but to echo the sentiment on the desk is that I think Legacy could not have played that game any further from their win condition. Like, Legacy's comp is so linear. Like, you know how there's some comps it's like, we can team fight, we can split push, we can do a lot of this. Legacy's comp is linear, and what linear means is it's just a straight line. There's one way to play Galio, Camille, and Shen. You can abuse... They have 2 global ults that can just abuse the Scion, which Mimic already got a solo kill. Mimic was quite strong. All they had to do was play to the Camille, but they literally played to the opposite side of the map and got punished for it. And in saying that, yes, Chiefs punished it real hard. They made one mistake, and the Chiefs turned that into a pretty much game-changing or a game-ending Baron and whatever it may be.
I want to talk about this 8.4 patch, because you were saying it's a lot easier now for teams to be able to get picks around Baron because there's less vision. Yeah,
so I think we saw that with Decoy face-checking the Baron. It looks bad, and I reckon Twitch chat's like, haha, smork, like support's dead. Yeah, like Twitch chat roast. But there's literally nothing Decoy can do. He has to face check that. The best thing they can do is face check that, and no one die. But I mean, to get a ward in against a Sejuani, a Cassio, a Scion ultimate, one of you minimum is gonna die. And unfortunately, it was Decoy, but it could have been anyone on that team. So yeah, I think because there's no tracker's knife, it has to be the support generally face checking. And support, if you're not ahead, the support's quite squishy. So there's going to be a lot of deaths for supports. Feels bad, man.
Feels bad, man. Let's also talk about this Baron buff comboed with the Banner of Command, because we didn't get to see too much of it yesterday, but it did work in this game in the bot lane. Yeah,
I was laughing because we were talking about this in the room. They pushed for the tier 2 bottom with Banner of Command, and it was doing ridiculous amounts of damage on the tower. Then they got the inhib tower. Then they got the inhibitor. Then I'm going to be honest, I think Chiefs started trolling a little bit, and they were farming for KDA when they started diving the Nexus towers. But we were like, oh, Legacy's doing okay here. I don't think the game's over. And then you just see this one banner minion just continuously pop-shotting at the tower, just pop-shotting. And you think the animations make it look like it doesn't do much damage. You're just whatever, it's a banner. It's a banner cannon minion, leave it, who cares? And you just see this tower's health just start dropping significantly. And then that dropped, and then it was on to the next one, and we were like, wait, this banner's going to end the game. Legacy, luckily, they cleared it. But I think that goes to show the potency between one Baron buff and a Banner of Command at 20 minutes into the game, 25 minutes into the game, can do some serious damage to a base.
It's massive. But I also want to roll back and talk about Tracker's Knife, because when we had you on last, you were saying that you were looking forward to it because you thought it would work in your favor, and we got to see a few games yesterday with the new changes. Did the changes meet your expectations of how you think it would play out?
Well, I did lose. I don't know if you were... No, you were there.
Sorry,
you were watching the game. I did lose. So it didn't work out to my favor. I did win one game. I did have fun playing Kindred. But like, I think it definitely opens up like avenues to play some like niche jungle picks. Like in LCS today, like Blue Smite, for example. I don't know if Volibear ran Blue Smite, but champions like Volibear coming back, Kindred can like abuse tanks. There'll probably be like more Kha'Zix, AV only played in Italy. Things like this like really help early aggressive junglers, because you can't just safely ward entrances anymore. So and that's why you see like games sort of quote unquote be more Clown Fiesta-ish. And personally, like, I enjoy watching Clown Fiestas. Like, for me, that's fun. Like, I enjoy playing Clown Fiestas too. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone just calls me a clown anyway. So that's some good stuff. But I think the taking away of Tracker's Knife forces like face checks, forces skirmishes, forces earlier aggression. So I think that's good for the game in OS anyway, because we are known as Clown Fiestas.
Yes.
We are known for Clown Fiestas, I should say.
I have to ask you about it because you brought it up just before. But Kindred, talk us through why you picked it. Why is she good? What's the story behind it?
I don't think she's like good as in like you wouldn't take her over many other things. There was like 5 jungle bans because I am probably like the best player in the world.
Outsmarted Levi.
Yeah,
best jungler.
so like I don't blame them. But in saying that, like, Kindred was something I played all week, and if someone's going to pick tank junglers, you can play Kindred and really abuse the tank jungler, like we did in Game 2. You obviously have to play really well as a team. When you're playing with Kindred, you have to play around your marks, you have to play around your team, you have to play around priority. Game 1, obviously, was not a good game. Game 2, I think we played really well, and it was real clean, and you saw what Kindred can do. And then Game 3 was just Monka S. Monka S in the chat right now if you're watching. And it was not a good game, but it just goes to show, like, yeah, it's good into tanks, and press the attack really helped. Press the attack early is like real good in the 1v1 in the skirmish, especially with Red Smite. So we just thought I thought I could snowball early game, and get some good leads on Kindred. Obviously, didn't pan out that way, but you live and you learn, and you live to fight another day.
I was glad you picked it up in Game 2 though, because after Game 1 we were like, is he going to pick it up again? But you did, and you were confident, and it was good.
I don't, you know, fear. When people were born, God put fear into people, but God said, there's no fear in this man. So that's what happens. I'm just fearless, but sometimes it's bad. That's why I go 0-10 sometimes, but I'm not scared.
I love it.
Happens.
Something that also changed in 8.4 is the river accessible blast cones.
Yeah.
They're getting up to 300 seconds, I think. The ones on your screen right now. What are your thoughts on this change?
It's real weird, right? Like when Riot made these buffs to Elder Drake and Baron buff, is to make games end quicker, because there was like a lot of 70-minute games. I feel like making these blast cones 5 minutes, it stops a lot of jungle gank routes. So it stops a lot of jungle gank routes in the sense that, like, in the top lane one right there, the top left of the screen, that's like a real efficient one to avoid the ward in that bush. Like, even if that bush is warded, if you blast cone over, it's too late for the top laner to back out. And it kind of makes the game a little bit slower for the jungler, but I don't think overall it hurts like the game at all. I think it's fine. I don't think it's positive. I don't think it's negative. It's just sometimes it's annoying because you really like, it's just quick access. Like sometimes I just want to jump over Dragon Wall, pre 5 minutes, and I look at the time and it's like 4:50, and I'm like, do I just wait 10 seconds or do I walk around? I end up walking it around because exercise is good for you. So, but yeah, I don't know.
Going back to this series,
Yeah.
do you think Chiefs are going to 2-0? Are you going to swap your prediction?
I think Chiefs will 2-0, but I did see something from Legacy to make it a little bit more competitive, because I don't think that game was really competitive. I thought it was like pretty Chiefs favoured throughout. I guess the only thing, the little beacon of light, I say beacon of light a lot on the couch, but the only beacon of light I saw was the top lane. So I think, yes, there's a slight bit of hope for Legacy, but I think Chiefs are too good. I think Chiefs actually surprised me. Like, I think they're looking real clean and real good, so it's going to be interesting.
Well, there is a chance they can get the first place position at the end of this weekend. We're going to head to a short break, but when we get back, we're going to have game number 2 between Legacy and the Chiefs.
out. Hectech ultimatum onto Ryoma. Very good stun means that Mimic looking for the kill will finally get it. It's a 1-for-1 trade as they continue the fight. However, Raze and Destiny are already here.
Big
Huge Dawn onto 3 members means no, they will not fall down. Destiny, now that Raid appears, will continue to go forward on the back end. Can he go over the wall in time? Gets rooted up, just goes down. And why did they not decide to fight? Chiefs take the Baron, and Legacy are heading for the hills, but they just can't run fast enough. Big Swift is popping off, but the Chiefs are. They go with the ultimate decoy, dead again, and the Chiefs just storm into the base. And Legacy honestly look just a little bit confused. Babip's going to continue forward. They go in, ulting all of a sudden, and that's just bad. On the back end, you see Swiper keeping everyone busy. Will ult up Sybil, will get the chair, will look to knock him up as well. Shen ultimate coming across, Claire trying to keep him safe, but it's just not enough. And Legacy right now doesn't even look like they're going to try. They just hightail it back. Claire teleports to a ward, and Chiefs in 26 minutes destroy Legacy.